Hello, welcome to week 4 of our Pokemon Battle League in the season 4, or 3 if you're counting just the PBL and not the ERL for those dedicated fans. I am Coach Ian of the Lake of Rage Ungodly Qwilfishes, this week playing Amber of the Ever Grande Basic Bees, love the name. So we've got a very long match for you today, 26 minutes, I hope you stick it out. It's going to be a doozy. Let's just get right into it. So I decided to lead Superior this week. She didn't have a whole lot of checks to it besides the Amoonguss. And kind of the Skarmory early on, but as long as I could set up, it was a potent threat all around. She didn't bring the Zygarde 10% like I was fearing, so that's good. Just decided to lead, see what I could do. So already you can see that I've missed very turn 1 a Leaf Storm. I don't want to get super into it, but I feel like this Leaf Storm miss literally cost me the game very first turn. But she does set up the spikes here, and on my second turn, setting up the Leaf Storm, just seeing what she was going to do, she does go for the Whirlwind, as I would hope that she would, seeing that I'm going to set up. And unfortunately for her, it does bring in Zeraora here, so she is going to switch out the Skarmory, fearing a Plasma Fists or whatever it is, and bringing in her My Baloney. I anticipated this and just went for a knockoff. It would get rid of Skarmory's item either way. And it does lose the Rocky Helmet, damaging me a little bit anyway. So here I decided to go right back into Superior, take the Spikes damage, and Quagsire is going to recover off all the damage from the knockoff. But I am definitely going to be able to force him out here. Quagsire is super allergic to pollen and grass. He can't even take like a Vine Whip from me right now. So I go and use this time to set up a defog away the spikes. I haven't really brought utility on Superior most weeks. Usually I just go for a Glare, but this time I did bring defog just to try to get the hazards off. I only have one hazard of my own, and so far it's worked already. So she brings in the Amoonguss. I can't really hit this thing without setting up previously, and it can hit me pretty hard with a Sludge Bomb. So I do switch into Argonian Maid here, who is very lusty for battle. And she takes it pretty well, as she actually resists it, and Amoonguss isn't known for its special attack. So I take it a little less than half from that attack, and recover up with some Black Sludge. And anticipating her to switch out, I'm going to go for a Toxic. So with the Corrosion ability, Salazzle can Toxic Poison and Steel types. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean I can hit Steel types with Poison moves, but I'll take it. So I do get a Poison off on the Toxapex, which is probably the only time that will ever happen in the history of our league. And that's really nice for me because now I can switch here into Superior. Best she can do is Scald or Toxic it, and I do have Giga Drain to heal myself up if that's the case. So she does get the burn. Unfortunate, it's going to nullify my leftovers, but not a big deal. The good thing for me is that she did stay in, so I did get the free-ish switch. She's going to start taking poison damage, which means she might switch soon, and even if she doesn't, I am going to be able to set up here pretty well. So she switches out and sends in the Amoonguss, which is going to be able to take a Leaf Storm pretty well, but guess what? She avoids it again. That's great. 90% accuracy, so with the 2 times I've tried, I should have 18 in a row that don't miss. Unfortunately, I only have 8, so I have 6 more at this point. Once again, if that hits, I might have been in a goodish position, might have been able to hit it with a hidden power. I don't know if she brought like Clear Smog or something, but I still didn't want to take a Sludge Bomb unless I could have at least a +2 before Amoonguss could come in. So I do switch out into Salazzle, get Spored, and then just switch it right back out, allowing Salazzle to stay asleep for Sleep Claws, as it's not really doing anything besides switching in on Amoonguss anyway. So I do go for the switch here into my Mammoth Swine, And assuming that she's going to switch and not Giga Drain, I do go for the Stealth Rocks, as Quagsire goes for a Toxic here on this turn. I think I assumed that I double switched, but I actually didn't. I just went for a Stealth Rocks, assuming that she would switch out the Quagsire instead of going for a Scald. But she does go for a Toxic, which is fine. I'd rather be Toxic than burned, and I'm not on a huge timer here. So assuming that she is going to go for the Scald this time and not for a risky Toxic the second time, I switch into Kevin here, who takes, what is that, like a 13 damage from a Scald. It's pretty good. And knowing that she's going to switch out here, not wanting to be Toxiced, she does switch into the Skarmory, and I'm going to double switch out into the Roadhog again, the Mamoswine. So I do take some poison damage because I come in before the turn is over, but not anticipating that she's actually going to switch into the Skarmory. I was kind of hoping for the Amoonguss. I do have to switch out here again into Argonian Maid, but luckily she does go for a Roost, which was a good play. It lets her heal up, and she would have taken less damage from Icicle Crash. And my Argonian Maid is going to heal up a little bit again, as she is forced out, fearing a Flamethrower if I wake up, and switching into my Baloney again, who can take any fire or poison moves pretty well because of his typing. And even if I set up a Nasty Plot, his Unaware is going to keep him unaware of that. So it's pretty good. I burn a turn to sleep here, which is nice, and I'm just going to switch right into Leviathan again, Leviathan, knowing I can take anything. I'm already burned, can't be Toxic, Earthquake's not going to do that much, Scald's not going to do that much, and I could sneeze on this thing with some grass and it would kill it immediately. So I pretty much have a free switch in as long as this girl is alive, or as long as this guy is alive, her girl is alive. And she knows this, so she's going to switch out also into the Ricky. I was anticipating a Amoonguss, so I do go for a Hidden Power Fire here, but that's totally fine. I'll take it on Ricky too. Brings him less than half after the Stealth Rocks, and I heal up a little bit and then take my burn damage. So I know that this guy can set up, but I do have the Pukumuku in the back, so I'm not really afraid of that. So I am just assuming that she's going to go for a Sucker Punch or something. So I just go for Hidden Power again, seeing if I could just KO it right now and get it over with. But she does switch into the Sableye here. Didn't really anticipate this thing coming in neutrally. I thought she would either lead with it or bring it in on KO. But assuming it is going to Mega Evolve, I do go for the Defog to see if I can get it to Magic Bounce a Defog back at me, so that I can actually get a +1 evasion boost, have a 75% chance of any 100% move hitting me. But apparently she did anticipate this and decides not to Mega Evolve and actually keep Prankster. So I do defog away my own Stealth Rocks, which is not really a big deal. She has Regenerator on almost everything, so I'm not really going to get a KO from Stealth Rocks, and its damage is pretty much negligible on her walls. So it's not a big deal. I feel like the risk was well worth it. But we do have a few turns going back and forth between Leaf Storming and recovering here, as I am going to take out the Sableye, and this is going to bring me down pretty low. So now she's going to bring out the Amoonguss, and I think I'm at... I don't know what I was at. I wasn't paying attention. But she is going to get a very lucky roll and is going to survive a Hidden Power Fire, which I don't know what her set was, but from what I was calculating, she had maybe a 30% chance to survive that. And she does get the KO with a Sludge Bomb, which is very unfortunate, as that probably would have been a good turning point in the match as well. So I bring out that left Shrimp here, my Gyarados, and I go for a Dragon Dance, knowing I only need one to be able to outspeed everything. Probably not even that much. And knowing that she still has the Quagsire in the back, I'm not going to go for more than one. I just need one to try and get some damage off on her Toxapex here. It does quite a bit, and she does get a layer of toxic spikes up, but I do have the Salazzle in the back still, who can absorb those even while asleep, so I'm not really worried about it. She's going to take the toxic damage here, and she is just going to switch out to get that regenerator because it's BS, and you can just keep switching between all your regenerators. As long as you don't take more than 33%, never have to worry. So I go for a waterfall here, just get some stab. She does bring in the Quagsire, as I just go for another one, knowing that I can't boost up anymore due to unaware. And I wanted to see if I could actually get a flinch. So I just keep going for waterfalls, hoping I can get a flinch off, but of course I don't, because I'm not that lucky. And she goes for a toxic, which is fine. I was kind of expecting a Scald from like a Toxapex or something, so I did bring Facade actually. And Facade after the double damage is actually going to do more than a stab waterfall. So I tried to go for that, see if it would be enough to actually bring it down. It's not. She's going to go for a recover again, and now I'm on a pretty big timer from the toxic. I go for it a few times more, just to get as much damage off of this thing, knowing that she can pretty much just recover as much as she wants, and now that my superior's gone, she doesn't have much to worry about coming in on this thing. As I don't have any more grass, and I don't have any more Pokemon that can deal more than 50% to this thing while taking their own toxic or burn damage. So just knowing she's going to recover again here, I'm going to switch into Argonian Maid, absorb the toxic spikes while I'm asleep, knowing she's not going to Scald here. And I'm going to switch out, fearing the Earthquake that she probably has, and go back into Kevin. Kevin can eat this up all day. Let's see, it's at 159, goes down to 125. Yeah, that's like, what, 29 damage? No, 34 damage. So she goes for a toxic here, and I'm anticipating that. I don't really care at this point. I just want to get this thing toxic because I need to get it out of the way so that I can try to sweep with the Gyarados later on. So I do get the toxic off. I don't really have anything to worry about setting up. Kevin's pretty much here just in case of Zygarde, and I'm not really scared of the Bisharp at this point, as it's pretty low, and I could take it out with any hit from pretty much any Pokemon I have left. So she brings out the Skarmory in here, and actually predicting that, I do go for the Soak, and I transform it into the Water type. For those who don't know, this allows Pyukumuku to poison Steel and Poison types, because they literally are not Steel and Poison types anymore. So she does go for the spikes here, sets up another layer, as there were none left, and I go for the toxic and miss. Third 90% miss of the game. That's neat. I guess I've got 27 in a row that I can hit now, statistically. Luckily, maybe for pity, she does stay in for the Skarmory, and I get the toxic off. That puts this thing on a timer 2, and she's going to Whirlwind, probably just trying to get some hazard damage off. Kind of luckily, it does go into Delif Shrimp here. I'm not going to be affected by the spikes. It's the only Pokemon I have that isn't affected by the spikes. So I can go for a Dragon Dance here, thinking maybe she'll stay in, set up another layer of spikes. Maybe she'll switch out. I don't know, but it's not going to be an issue. Worst thing that happens is she switches into Quagsire and I switch out. Or she Whirlwinds and I've got somebody else there anyway. Toxic is going to take me below 80 or 50%. So it does pop my Citrus Berry to restore 25% of my HP, which is nice because I needed it. And she is actually going to switch out here and go back into the Quagsire. So the remainder of this match, all 12 minutes of it, is basically just switching between Regenerator Pokemon, switching into Quagsire when there's setup, or switching into Skarmory when there is a ground move. That's pretty much the whole battle, but there's a couple more interesting parts, so I'll just keep commentating here. I go for Facade a few times. I just want to see if maybe I can get a crit, maybe I can rack up the poison damage so that it's low when I can outspeed it the next Pokemon that comes in, because I have pretty much given up hope of Gyarados sweeping here. Gyarados for Quagsire would be a good trade in my opinion, but at this point I was pretty much just fed up with the match anyway, and decided I'm just going to take this thing down at any cost. So I'm just going to go for a bunch of Facades. Does bring it down to, I don't know, 10%. As she goes for another Recover, and even though this is like the 4th turn of Poison or something, Quagsire's not going to be taking much poison damage for some reason, as it's got 33% HP, let's say. So I go into Roadhog here, Mamoswine, and I do go for an Icicle Crash, thinking that maybe it can take it out. If she switches into anything, it's pretty good damage. And luckily it does take it out. A little too little, too late, as all my setup is gone. But it's nice to have it out of the way because it's just annoying. So she's going to switch into Eat It here, and in true Regenerator bullshit fashion, she can just switch in on a KO, switch back out. Now she's got 33% more HP. So I'm just going to go for an Icicle Crash, hoping she'll stay in. But she's not dumb, so she's going to switch out into Skarmory here, who's going to take it pretty well. Poison damage is racking up more so on my side because I've been out longer, but it is nice to have Skarmory poisoned, even though it does have its own recovery as well. I think everything on her team besides Bisharp does this week. Who else did she have? Yeah, I think everything has some form of recovery. So it's going to go for another Roost, heal up to almost 100%, and after the Toxic is going to just be under full, whereas I am just under half after my Toxic. I do have Recover myself, but she is just going to go for the 3rd layer of Spikes. No reason not to. I can't get rid of them. My only levitating and flying Pokemon is gone, and she can just freely switch between her stuff. So why not? I get up to 100% with my Recover. Figure I'll just stall out some Toxic damage, see if I can get this thing low. Maybe switch in something else on a predicted Roost, which I attempt to do right here as I switch into Argonian Maid. So I can try to see if I can have a 2-fold switch to wake up, and to also try to hit this thing with a Flamethrower. There are no Stealth Rocks on the field at this point, so I'm only going to be taking Spikes damage, but it is still pretty big, even after the Black Sludge. And now she's just going to switch into her Toxapex here. It can take most of my attacks just as well as Quagsire could. And the Flamethrower is not going to do that much. It looks like it's a specially defensive version this week. And it does recover with its own Black Sludge, but it is still poisoned, so it is going to be on a timer if she decides to stay. So knowing that she can't really stay that long, theoretically, I'm just going to go for a Flamethrower and see if I can get some damage. Maybe she'll have to switch out to a Moongus, but she doesn't. She'll stay in and recover, and even though she's Toxic, this is not a wall that is going to stay in. It's just a pivot, and it's just going to pivot in and out, so the Toxic damage is never going to rack up enough. Not really caring about the Spikes at this point. I just switch into Zeraora because I don't know, what else am I going to do? And she Scalds. Luckily it doesn't get the burn, which is surprising, and Toxic is going to bring it down to half, but she can just pivot right back into Amoonguss, who can take most moves from Zeraora. I do go for the close combats. it's pretty much the best move I have. I didn't want to go for a knockoff because that would force me to switch, as I am choice banded. So even though it's resisted, close combat is actually going to do the most damage. And I'll just go for another one here, bringing myself down to -2 defense and special defense, as she is going to go for a synthesis. Yay! So that brings it up above half, and then with the black sludge, it's well within 3/4. I would say well within, but it's about 3/4. As I just go for a third close combat, bring it down below half again. As she's going to go for a Giga Drain to finish me off. Just more recovery, and then she's going to get more black sludge and bring her up to about 50%. So here I just go right back into Argonian Maid. I'm going to take a lot of spikes damage again, but I can still pretty much take anything she can throw at me, but I can't take a switch back into Toxapex. Just assuming maybe she'll be dumb, I don't know. I go for a flamethrower on Amoonguss, and ends up hitting Toxapex instead, which does, you know, not a lot. So, yeah, she's at about 60% here, and I'm just gonna switch out, go right back into Kevin. Pretty much the only thing I can try to do at this point is stall, but that's not going to work very well because I'm toxic, and she can just press recover on every single Pokemon she has left for the remainder of the game. So I'm at about 65% HP at this point. I am behind on the toxic timer, so that's cool, but she's going to switch out, give it some regenerator, and switch in the Bisharp. I don't know if she just wanted to finish this quickly. She could have easily just kept switching between regenerator Pokemon and never taken any damage. But she comes in and sets up a Stealth Rock just to do more switching damage. As I go for a Soak, because nothing else to do against this thing. Cool part is it does actually prevent the stab from coming through, so that's cool. So not only does it let me toxic, it lets me take less damage. But here she goes for a Swords Dance, and I'm unaware, so that's fine. And I go for the Toxic, and now it's poisoned. So Bisharp, a Steel type, and Salazzle, or Toxapex, a Poison type, have been poisoned this game. Wonder if that'll ever happen in the league again. So Ricky takes some poison damage, Pyukumuku takes some poison damage, and he goes for a knockoff, which knocks off my leftovers, just because she wants me to suffer. So I switch over to recover, and decide, you're going down. I'm gonna die, but I can't switch out because you're at +2. So I'm just gonna keep recovering, and she goes for another Swords Dance, maybe thinking that I'm gonna die before she does. I don't know. Maybe thinking I have to switch, but nah, dude. Kevin's a bitch. He'll stay in. He'll bring you down right with him. He will captain this ship to the bottom of the sea as long as you have to set sail with him. She's gonna go for Sucker Punch, but Kevin don't learn no attacking moves, so that's not gonna ever work. Well, maybe on counter. I don't actually know if it works on counter. But Ricky does go down as I just go for recover, and even though I'm at 100%, the Toxic is going to bring me down to maybe 60%. So here's the Amoonguss again. I can't afford to stay in to Soak and Toxic it, so I am just going to switch into Salazzle. Take a lot from Stealth Rock, take a lot from Spikes, not in that order. And she's going to go for a Spore, which isn't super necessary, but why not? So I fell asleep again. We both get our Black Sludge recovery, And I assume she just kills me. Oh no, she's gotta get that HP back. Didn't take any damage, but can't end the game on less than 100%, right? So I am asleep, and she's back here in Toxapex. I'm gonna heal up a little bit. She's gonna heal down a little bit, and yeah, I'm asleep. And then I wake up. Send out a flamethrower because it does equal damage to Sludge Bomb, which I brought on the off chance that I would have to Sludge Bomb the Toxapex and try to get a poison off on it. Wanted the 30% rather than the 10% of Sludge Wave. She does just finish me off with a Scald. I could actually take those pretty well. I think it was like 40% of my HP from a single Scald. That does finish me off. Kevin comes back in, takes a lot from Spikes, takes a lot from Stealth Rock, to the point where I'm at 32 HP. And she switches, because you can't end a game at less than 100% HP. As I go for Recover, not knowing or caring if she's going to switch, I just have to do it, because I'm going to make this as painful as possible for both of us. So I recover up to about 60. She Giga Drains me, that hurts. I'm water type, so that's not cool. Funny thing though, I get to soak her. Sounds inappropriate, I'm so sorry Evan, I didn't mean to soak your fiance. But I go for soak, and now that he's not poison type, he's actually taking damage from the black sludge. That's actually hilarious. But then Spikes and Stealth Rock kill my Mamoswine, and that just kills him. So I don't know if Amber got more than one direct KO in this whole game, because what actually KO'd all my stuff? Mamoswine just went down to rocks. Salazzle went down to a Scald, so there's one. Pyukumuku went down to poison, I think? I don't think the Giga Drain killed, even though I just watched it seconds ago. So what, that's 2 status, 1 attack. How did Zeraora die? Zeraora died from... Hang on, I'm going to go back and watch this now. Zeraora died from... Oh, that's too far. Oh yeah, okay. Zeraora died from something because he was at -3s. Oh, she Giga Drained him, I think. Yeah, she did. She Giga Drained him, so it's 2 and 2. Superior died from a Sludge Bomb. Okay, 3 direct attacks. Alright, that's way more than I thought. And who else? Gyarados. How'd Gyarados die? Gyarados died from Toxic. So it's 3 and 3. She had equal KOs as indirect KOs. So that's actually pretty funny. It's more respectable than I thought, though. I thought it was going to be like 5 indirect and 1 direct. But, yeah, neat game. It was a good game, even though, you know, hacks. I think it would have been much different if the hacks weren't there, but it's not like they saved Amber or anything. It's not like she played a bad game and was brought back from the brink of defeat by a miss or anything, or a lucky crit. It was a good game on both sides. It's just that with the specific misses I had, what I built my team to do was no longer viable, which meant that, as you can see towards the end, I literally couldn't touch anything anymore. I had to sacrifice too much to make up for those misses and the holes in the strategy they made. So I wasn't able to actually patch them up. So now I'm 0 and 4. Never lost more than 2, and never lost more than 1 in a row. Never had this many defeats in a season. And I've never been 0 and anything more than 1. I've also never been in the 26 through... No. the 74 through 0. What am I trying to say? Yeah, the 74 through 0 side of the bracket. So it's not a fun moment for me. Um, and I'm thinking my strategy is going to change as a result, and my play style might reflect this. I've offered up a lot of trades because I think that my draft was negatively affected by me being bad at drafting. Um, and past seasons had pushed me to try to draft a certain way that did not coalesce with my style in a way that would prove beneficial. So, trying to make some trades, pick up some free agents to see if I can salvage this shithole of the season that I'm in, and maybe it'll get better. I don't know. Nobody's out yet, obviously, but it's just a low point in my PBL career here. But next week I do face Evan, um, and as always, those are interesting matches. I actually think my team matches up pretty well against his, but I've also thought that about the last 4 matches. So maybe I just won't try to prep the same way that I usually do. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. I don't believe I'm the home team next week, but if I am, I will hopefully have a shorter commentary for you, and hopefully it will be off of a win instead of a loss. That would be a neat surprise for everybody. But if I don't see you, I will talk to you in a couple of weeks when I'm the home team again. But I hope you keep watching, and I hope we can make it interesting for you. See you then.